Can Fede Alvarez offer a redemptive direction for the Alien franchise? Welcome to Cinema, where we focus on the film. I'm Josh, this is Simply Cinema. Let me know down in the comments below what you thought of Alien Romulus. Was it good, was it bad, or somewhere right in the middle? And be respectful of everyone else's opinion. We all have our own takes on what we want from movies, so we may just have differing opinions. Make sure to like this video if you enjoy it, subscribe if you haven't already to join in film culture community where we talk about the love of cinema as a whole. But going right into the synopsis. While scavenging the deep ends of a space station, a young group of colonizers come face to face with one of the most threatening species on the universe. And getting right into positives, overall, I just have to first say I'm largely impressed by the outcome of this film, what Fede Alvarez has brought to the screen, and while I was vaguely familiar with his work from Don't Breathe and the remake of Evil Dead, I enjoyed both of those films, and just what we get out of this, it's just a great redemptive arc for what we're getting out of the aliens. I finally finished watching all the Alien movies, and I'll be getting a ranking later on in the week, but overall, just this film on its own, the great cinematography, the great lighting, how they craft this film together is just beautifully done and takes us into the inner workings of space, and we get some elements from the original Alien, Ridley Scott's film, as well as James Cameron Aliens film, where we get the action and the deep sci-fi elements combined together, making it with some great themes, some great arcs throughout, with some actually interesting characters that I actually care for going throughout the film, and just the build up toward that has some great moments throughout, creating great tension with the great things. And while it's not a first time experience seeing what these aliens look like, that would be absolutely terrifying, it still livens up the environment and has a build-up that naturally builds the tension throughout the film, while also having multiple sequences of that has the scary moments, that actually earns its place, has some terrifying and grotesque sequences, and also creating great moments with its props and how it establishes what the xenomorphs look like, and having these multiple different twists on what they do with that, creating a different sort of environment while also creating a familiar place. And it also utilizes and brings back a character from the original Alien movie that I'm not going to spoil, and how they utilize that character is just well used and works in with the villains as well, where the xenomorphs may not be as big of a threat, or at least the main focus, the main character that is the villain. And so how that follows on throughout the story just creates this great environment that actually makes sense to what they're doing with these kids, these young colonizers that are just trying to escape the planet and go off on their own, and where that puts them just creates them in this threatening situation that builds up the tension. And I watched this in LDX, and just watching it with the sound that livens up that experience is just so much better. And I do encourage you, if you're going to see this, or if you have seen it, go also to whatever the best sound is for this and whatever the best screen, because it just works so effectively with Fede Alvarez, how he has great look into how he livens up the arena, makes it more feel surreal to everything that's going on throughout. There's a lot of moments going on throughout the end where I kind of feel like it almost ends the film, but then there's a little bit more, and it sort of goes about multiple different action sequences near the end that, while it feels like it almost shouldn't be that long, there's a proper place in which those multiple sequences still feel like they each deserve their own place within the film, not feeling like it's too long and doesn't deserve to feel like it's keep on going. it actually feels like it earns all its moments with how it establishes its characters, and there's certain ways that it goes about building the tension to where I absolutely love what they do with the approach that they have for this film. So that's just my personal thoughts of what I love about the film as a whole. Going into the mixed elements, there are certain moments where you're familiar with the franchise, and so there's nothing overly fresh with what you're getting out of it. While it has its own approach that makes me still love it for what it offers, it's taking sides from Alien and Aliens, those films, and bringing them into one, packing in some moments of Prometheus as well, just with what we're getting of the lore. So if you're expecting something entirely new, there's something that it's a little held back by, but that's just subtle approaches to what you may be turned off of. Maybe you're expecting too much out of originality, but Fede Alvarez still manages to craft something great out of the workings of that. There's a couple slow moments with just the exposition getting into it for the first time, but I feel like that could be sped up just a little bit for once you're going upon rewatch or just not knowing what to expect in general. There's still a natural buildup that deserves its place with the exposition, but taking into all things into account, my personal experience, I'm just noting the little flaws that could be bigger for others more than it was for me. And so just the way they go about that, there's a familiar area with where you're taking the setting. There is some use of the lighting that isn't as colorful. It's taking in this red setting that we're fairly familiar with just what we're getting. So it just feels like there's some aspects that could have been a little bit more creative with what it uses with its colors and the environment as a whole. But that's just little nitpicks here and there that kind of took me out of the film, but not totally ruined the experience by any means. And there's no negatives for this film, making it a rating of simply 9.0 out of 10. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below of Alien Romulus. Was it good? Was it bad? Or are you waiting for this review to help you decide if you're going to see it or not? Thank you for watching, and make sure to do yourself a favor and go watch a movie.